Hey kids, welcome back to the greatest podcast on earth. That's right, this show is a JK with your pals Jason and Keith, back for a special Saturday recording show because Jason zoned recording on Friday and we just couldn't do it Thursday. So Keith has graciously given me part of his Saturday evening and I've given him part of mine so that we can do this podcast. How are you?
I'm good. Yeah, giving up part of my Saturday is a big deal for me because I had to move, 12 feet from my recliner to my desk. So.
I wanted to sound gracious. Didn't I sound gracious?
You sounded very gracious.
All right.
But the reality is, it's not like I have a date.
Yeah.
And
it's not like there's shit going on that we could be out doing.
Right. Right.
That's just not a thing. I mean, there's nothing we could be out doing right now that. There's nowhere to go. I mean, I think some things are open. I think Dee Dee mentioned, well, maybe not till Monday, because I think she's like excited that the downtown mall is opening, because at least it gives us somewhere different to go that's not the KMCC, right?
I've never been there. I'm going to have to check that out.
It's good. It's got a lot of cool little niche stores.
Our German coworker said that all the stores are opening in Rhineland Falls Monday. So,
yeah.
But by the way, how old was I? 49 years old 11 months ago, and
feels like forever,
realized that Germany had states. I never knew that.
16 of them, I believe.
Yes, and Rhineland Falls is where we are, where Kaiserslautern is, and so each state, much like in the U.S., has their own rules, and with the COVID-19, and so as
all right, sorry, for some reason I kicked my camera off, so I didn't mean to interrupt. Yeah, go ahead. Own rules.
No, as of Monday, all the retail stores in Rhineland Falls, the state of Rhineland Falls, will open up.
Right.
I don't feel totally comfortable with that yet.
I don't think a lot of people do. I think a lot of people are still kind of like, I think you can still infect me. Yes. On the other hand, I think this is, you look at what we're doing in the States now. There's a lot of states that have gone to you can go to a restaurant, but the tables are going to be 6 feet apart, 10 feet apart. Right. But aren't you breathing on the utensils and the tables and the chairs? I get it. I mean, at some point, I think it's just like, well, we've got to take our chances, right? I understand that too. So I'm in a really weird space right now where I'm not sure. Again, I'm not a medical professional. I'm not a politician. I'm not someone with any expertise here. I only know, if they tell me that I can go to the mall, I go to the mall. If I can go golfing, I can go golfing. We'll talk about that in a minute. And right. I'm a little confused by the differentiation. I think some are being more careful and some are being less, but I think we're starting to see some return back to that. I don't know. I mean, I could go either way, I guess.
Well, I just found out, I guess it was yesterday she posted it on Facebook. I woke up to it this morning that a cousin of mine has just been diagnosed with COVID-19. I don't want to say her name, but so she's actually my cousin-in-law.
Cousin-in-law.
Married to my cousin.
Okay.
So my cousin is obviously presumptive positive.
Oh, wow.
Because they are together.
Yeah.
So it's still out there.
Right.
It is still out there, and as we saw, even with the limited openings that began last week, we saw the numbers go up some.
Yeah.
So it is still out there.
It is still out there, and I think I do think we have to be careful. It's just, as you said, I think some people are fearful and some people are not, and others are just like, all right, let's see what we can do. A friend of ours was interesting because she wrote a note on one of the community chats saying that I guess supervisors are encouraging people to get back to work, but there's no babysitting, right? So I mean, if there's no service for the thing you're demanding be back, then that seems to be a cry in the United States. We need to get back to work. I want my whatever, right? I want to be able to go out and do X. Well, that requires other people to go to work who might not be as susceptible, right? In order to go to a restaurant and eat food, that means the staff of the restaurant has to be in the building working, right? So they immediately become essential workers because somebody needs their Applebee's or something. I mean, to me, that's kooky, right? So I don't know. I just think that, again, we are. I'm very measured about this. I think I'm just going. I'm one day at a time, one moment at a time, and I'm a homebody, so I have no problem being at home, watching TV, flying my F-14 simulator, playing simulation baseball, doing all the little geeky things I love. I have no problem. If I go nowhere, I'm in heaven. I'm good. Dee Dee is itching to travel. I totally understand that, and I want to do that too. But I mean, either way. We're not dealing with, the good news is we're not dealing with like a fast-acting flesh-eating Ebola virus or something, right? We're dealing with a flu that we don't know anything about, and that people are working hard to find a vaccine for it. That's great. The con side of that is a lot of people don't know what we're dealing with, so we're having to take these measures. So, yeah, I'm glad some of it's opening, and I'll take advantage of some of it, but like today we were driving, we drove out to the BX. We had to return some stuff, and there was, the usual lines to get into some of the German department stores, right? To some of like the Kaufland and to Thyme, and they only allow a certain number of people in the building. So, there's lines outside, and I thought, man, if I had to go get hardware shit today, that would annoy the hell out of me. Because we tried to do it once, and there were like probably 20 people in line waiting to get in. And I thought, well, I'm not doing this. I'm not waiting in line just so I can get some pots and some plants. I'm not doing that. Especially when if you go to the BX, you could probably find what you need. And if you can't, you can wait. I mean, I would rather wait 2 weeks to get the thing I want than wait 20 to 25 minutes outside in a line waiting to get into a store. There's just a different sort of relativity there that I'm happier with.
Oh, absolutely. And if you, like you said, if you can't find it at the BX, you probably don't need it. The only thing I can't find at the BX right now that I've been looking for about 2 months is Lysol spray.
We found at the local grocery store? Masks. They're selling them in packs of 25.
Asses?
No, mask asses. Chunky asses. That's from the Golden Child. Masks. Here, look, I'm showing you on your screen so you can see it. Masks. Not these, but the light cloth masks that aren't as unbearable as these are. Because these are very smothering, these cloth masks.
Yes.
The ones that aren't made of cloth aren't as smothering, but they're still a pain in the ass. Because I wear glasses, and I have to wear my glasses in the store so I can know where I'm going, and they get fogged up just every time. Yeah. But at least they have masks. That's the first time I can recall that we've had masks available just to buy versus, So that was kind of cool to find that out. She went down for butter, I think, and she discovered masks. So that's a good deal. Cool. The masks are into the butter. That's not code. That's not code for anything.
I have not, after the first wave of hoarding was done, I have not found anything other than, like I said, the cleaning supply, the Lysol, the things like that that are not available.
No, not merchandise stuff, right?
No, and as far as I've seen, all the food is there too, except apparently for about the last week and a half, there has been a worldwide honey bun shortage.
Well, groceries are a different deal. Like I still see them out of macaroni and cheese. I see them out of graham crackers. That was interesting. Just plain graham crackers, because we wanted to have some supplies to make s'mores. And so we went there, and Dee Dee's like, all right, I'll just go get some graham crackers. And they were out. They had like the cinnamon and sugar frosted ones, which I used to love as a kid. And then they had another flavored one, but not just plain graham crackers. I thought that was weird. And then what were the other?
I did see that yesterday in the commissary, and I go to both of them. Look, honey buns are my breakfast.
Yes.
And now that I'm spending every freaking day at home, I eat breakfast at home because, well, whatever. But yesterday at the commissary, they had the big 18-pack of Kraft macaroni and cheese for you.
All right, let me tell my Pop-Tart tale. Can I tell you this?
Please do.
So I think I've mentioned, I may have mentioned here, I may have mentioned to you that generally my breakfast in the morning is a untoasted Pop-Tart, usually on the way to work. Now, the only kind of Pop-Tarts that I really enjoy eating are, well, I shouldn't say that. That's changed. But my go-to Pop-Tart was strawberry, right? So I would buy a box of 16, and I would, I forgot to write down the topics so I can write the thing for the release. But anyway, So my go-to was as I said, the 16 box of strawberry, and that lasts about I want to say 16 days, but sometimes I bring 2 because I get a little more hungry. So it lasts about 10 days, right? So anyway, when this gets into high gear, when we really go into clamp down, there's no strawberry. There's just none, right?
Everybody likes strawberry.
Everybody likes strawberry, right? So then I said, all right, I got to sub with something. So I went to raspberry. And I was like, well, I'll do this, but I want to get back to strawberry as quickly as possible. So got the raspberry. I ended up liking them a lot. I was like, oh, these are pretty good. All right, cool. I've got a good staple. And then, I'll be fine. So I'll get a 16 of these. And next week I'll come back, I'll get a 16 until they get strawberry and it'll be good. Well, guess what? Then they run out of strawberry. So now I'm on my third flavor, which is blueberry, which is fine. Honestly, I think they're all kind of the same except for the color. At this point, that's what I figured out. And but it's interesting because I was trying to think of this sort of sociologically and thinking, well, okay, I can't be the only one whose favorite is strawberry, and I can't be the only one who went, well, if I can't have strawberry, I'll have raspberry. Because that had to be the thinking. Even on the simplest level, that one's red too, I'll eat it, right? That's to me.
Right.
I mean, that's it. That's the whole thing. So I was like, all right, so I'm eating the blueberry and that's it. I thought I might switch over to like the birthday cake one or like the cookies and cream one, but I was like, no, that's too much. That's not a... That would feel weird eating that for breakfast in my mind, right? That's just
the old Bill Cosby thing.
At least
I fed my kids cake.
Yeah.
And the wife was mad, and I said, "Well,
that is great.
It's got eggs,
makes us chocolate
milk."
cake." Yeah,
that's right.
That's still a great bit, even though he's not had a good run lately. So, but well, yeah, so
the comedy's fantastic.
Yeah,
anyway,
the comedy's fantastic. I mean, it's brilliant, but. Yeah, so I guess what else? So Pop-Tarts I mentioned, that's a weird one. I mean, they still have Pop-Tarts. I'm not saying they don't have Pop-Tarts, but Pop-Tarts. I think I've told the pomegranate seed story before, and they had them when we went in like a week ago, so I bought like 7 or 8 of them. But Dee Dee's on her last one, and they haven't had them since I've been back. So we're going to have to figure that out. What else is the weird stuff? They've always had plenty of soda. We buy plenty of soda.
They're out of orange juice a lot of times too.
Are they really? Okay, and they seem to be out of chicken. Chicken seems to be a biggie, but they have chicken. But they, if you want drumsticks, they seem to be out of the particular kind of thing that you like, right? But that seems to be bad. I was talking to my friend Noah. He's one of the store managers. And I said, how's it going? He said, good. I said, are you restricting anything else aside from cheese? He said, no, it's just cheese right now. So I think the egg 2 only thing is even off too. So I talked to him for a few minutes. He's a fellow Cowboys slave like you are, and mental slave to the Cowboys. And talked to him for a few minutes, and that was great. But walking away, I thought, okay, I wonder with so people aren't working in specific areas, so they're not producing anything. So I wonder if the foodstuffs that need to be produced have stopped producing, right? So maybe they're not even making strawberry Pop-Tarts anymore, God forbid. Or, what's not being made right now? Dee Dee was talking to the car about how farms are having to destroy so much food, which I think is mind-boggling as well. But, that shows how much mass-produced food we can make. And, it's just interesting that all that stuff has to be destroyed. But yeah, I was talking to him about the eggs, and he said, no, there's no other embargoes like that. But just that sort of, what else is I wonder what, I guess toilet paper, is it still an issue in the States? Have you heard anything from your parents or anything? Like, can they go to the store and still not get stuff?
They can. They generally use the commissary and the BX at Luke Air Force Base, since we live out in Arizona.
That's a great Air Force base.
So sometimes out there they say that the toilet paper is a little scarce, but then again they have, you name it. They have Costco, they have Walmart,
right.
They have Sam's Club. So they have backups. Here, I guess we do too. Mm-hmm. I can count on one hand how many times I've been in Globus down here.
Oh yeah.
Or Real,
I love Globus.
Over on the other side of town.
I love Globus, and they sell these the Monster Energy drinks that I drink. They sell them for like 10 cents cheaper, I think, based on the euro. But Globus is fantastic, and I don't think a lot of people, many more people are going there now because they're discovering all of this stuff that they have. But the food is fresher. Like I buy sushi there, I buy cheese, all this different stuff, and it's. I love it. I love going there, but it's one of those places that you can, okay, let's walk around Globus, because they've also got kind of a department store area with electronics and paper and all that stuff, and then you get into the food and all that, and then they have that huge beer and liquor area, which is pretty awesome as well.
Now, okay, so let me, because I meant to tell you this, I actually was going to tell you off the air, but I cannot find Pirat anymore.
I can't either. No, that's a great point. So, I know we've never talked about this. Keith and I drink.
You got me on.
Right. Yeah. So Keith and I like this Belgian beer, and it comes in about a champagne-sized bottle called Pirate.
It's 11% alcohol.
It's just the bomb, and so. You could bring a bottle at home, sit on your balcony, and just have a festive evening. I should, if we decide to do this, like I was thinking maybe we could do Tuesday, Saturday, but if we do like this on a Saturday, that's one of those things that'll just be, you have that right at the hand, nice and cold, and you're talking and stuff like that. It's an amazing beer. So it's Belgian, it's fantastic. They have it in the BX, and it's alongside some other beers that are famous, Delirium Tendrums, and some others. And they haven't had it for a very long time. Like, I scoured the shop at last time. I'm like, I need a Pirat. I want to get a Pirat in on this Saturday and enjoy that thing to death. And they just didn't have it. And so
I went into Globus and couldn't find it either.
And I did the same thing. So I'm guessing that it's just not available now, or they've shut down the line or
Maybe
whatever.
It was a seasonal thing or something. I don't know.
No. Pirat's a year round for sure. I just have a feeling they've shut down that assembly line in favor of like the Upulers and the other more inexpensive beers that have to come out. Something I mentioned to Dee Dee today too was there's no movie releases right now.
No.
There's no movie hype for anything. And then the thing I noticed today when I had, maybe it was just because of the storms, because the programming was blinking in and out, but are they even putting a program guide on TV anymore? Because mine's blank.
Yeah, mine working.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So it must have just been the storms then. Okay, because I'm like, wow, they really are just have no programming right now. So that's pretty wild. All right, you're listening to This Show is a JK. That's a joke, and Jason and Keith. This is the first break is a JK. So we have been talking about all sorts of things. What were you saying before I ran over and identified the show?
That's right. I was just going to say I watched. Oh gosh, what did I watch? Oh, Blade Runner 2049 last night. That's one thing about AFN. Is even before it comes out on DVD or right after it comes, they're playing it on the air here in I guess all over where Armed Forces Network is.
Right.
But so I watched Blade Runner 2049. There have been a number of movies. Oh, that's cool. I've been wanting to watch that kind of thing.
Blade Runner 2049 is sacred to me. It is an amazing piece of cinema.
The second one?
Yeah. Well, both are. Both are. Yeah, Blade Runner is unquestionably one of my three favorite films, and it has a lot of meaning and feeling to me. And then when they said they were going to make a sequel, I was like, they're going to fuck this up by the numbers. I know they are. They're going to use the old tropes. They're going to do da 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 da. And I saw this movie and I almost wept. It was so good. I mean, it is an amazing film. I love it. So I'm glad you got to see it. What did you think of it?
Maybe
you could be fair. You can be mean if you want. I'm going to be mean about something I saw today.
I need to watch Blade Runner again because it's been decades since I've watched Blade Runner.
Remember, Blade Runner came out, I believe it was in 1981. This was right after Harrison Ford had made Raiders, so his career was taking off. He didn't really have to do this movie, but he sort of made a deal with Ridley Scott that he would do it. And it got, I don't want to say it got panned, but it was science fiction movies in general. They either hit like a Star Wars or they completely miss. There really is no in between. Tron, miss. Became a cult classic. People loved it. Managed to get enough energy where they made Tron Legacy, which I like a lot. Blade Runner was that film that came. It got panned mostly, and it grew into such a cult status film. I mean, there are Blade Runner fans, and it got 6 different versions, like 2 different director's cuts. It was shown in art house films. It became a whole different sort of thing. So I get it. If you didn't get it back then, I mean, it's perfectly fine. But I remember when I saw it, I was just, when the spinner is flying over Los Angeles and it lands, and when he's talking to the guy and he says, "Tell him I'm eating," and just hypnotic. So Blade Runner 2049, I was really just thinking, okay, I'll get through this and figure it out. And I remember my first viewing of that, and I was just like, wow. And then I watched it again and again and again, and I loved it. So I'm glad you got to see it. I mean, it's a slow film. It's a slow burn for sure, but I can really appreciate that. I started watching Bosch on Amazon, and it's fantastic. It's very sort of everything in Bosch is a downward spiral. There's no positivity. You're not going to find a feel good story in Bosch. It is very much everybody's out to screw everybody, politics and everything else. But it's a great show. It's well written. It's in the mold of the shows that I like Columbo and Inspector Morse, and even to a degree Midsummer Murders. Kind of a irascible, grumpy cop, but more so grumpy. I mean, but this is it's much more gritty. And so I'm just into the second season, a couple episodes in. I really love it, and that's one of those things.
Now the actor,
Titus Welliver.
Titus Welliver, yes.
So I guess he was in. I didn't know.
He's good in everything he does.
That's what I've heard. I heard he was in what was the motorcycle one?
Yeah, Sons of Anarchy.
Sons of Anarchy, and he's in a couple of other things, but I only know him from this. But I heard he's pretty good. So okay, so I saw today. I saw about 3/4 of it. The Ghostbusters remake with Kristen Wiig.
I watched about the last 3/4 of
Melissa McCarthy.
From something else.
Kate McKinnon. The Bill Murray thing. The Bill Murray appearance. I can't think of the woman's name who was the subway operator. I did not like that film. I didn't like it because it didn't flow well. I didn't like it because I liked some of the little jokes that just they sort of throwaway jokes. I like a lot of especially with Chris Hemsworth as Kevin, and some of his throwaway jokes I thought were hilarious. But there was just so much of that movie. I got up and left it, and I probably would have done it in the theater. Dee Dee's like, "Hey, can we go to the BX and exchange this stuff?" I was like, "Yep." So we just did. We left, and that was it. So I wanted to like it. I'm a big Kristen Wiig fan. I'm a huge Kristen Wiig fan. I love everything she does. And so I was into this. I was ready to go. Charles Dance is in it too. Charles Dance, brother Sodom Noopspa from Golden Child, and of course from Game of Thrones, one of my favorites. And I was ready to.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, you go ahead.
I was going to say there are cameos. You mentioned Bill Murray.
Yeah.
Aykroyd is in it.
Missed Aykroyd. I didn't stay long enough for Aykroyd.
He's a taxi driver. They're trying to get to the action, and he says, "No, I'm not going down there. That's Chinatown. I'm not going to Chinatown."
Okay.
He said, "Well, are you afraid of the ghosts?" He goes, "No, I just don't want to go to Chinatown. I ain't afraid of no ghosts." And then he drives off.
Okay.
And Annie Potts was in it.
Annie Potts was I saw her. She was the hotel. That's what I was trying to tell Dee Dee is, here's Chris Hemsworth playing the Annie Potts role. So,
right.
But I mean, there were little bits, but I got up and walked out 3/4.
It wasn't well received either.
Right. And again, I think that movie when it came out, right after that, I think was Ocean's 8, which I have to view, but I haven't started to view yet because it just hasn't. It hasn't been a compelling reason for me to watch it. I mean, again, I'm really hard to lure in with anything new, but I had so many recommendations for Bosch that I was like, I got to watch this. I'm just going to have to watch Bosch. And I started watching it, and I love it. So, and I can always do police procedural. Again, Inspector Morse is the best show ever made. So I'll watch that. But it took me a while to get into, so,
Last night, after I watched Blade Runner, I remembered, or I found, I guess, actually, that the ESPN show The Last Dance is on Netflix.
Oh, the Michael Jordan thing.
It's the Michael Jordan and the story of the Bulls during that run.
Right.
From when they drafted Jordan up until whatever it was, 98, I guess.
Yeah.
And so, obviously the first episode is about drafting Jordan, and then trying to build the team around Jordan.
Right.
And then a Scottie Pippen centric episode.
Right.
And then
he wasn't paid enough.
Dennis Rodman centric episode. So right now there's only 4 released. The next 2, they release 2 a week at the same time. The next one is Monday. So I've enjoyed it so far. I mean, I wasn't a Bulls fan, but I'm not a basketball fan in particular. But I've enjoyed the series so far.
So that's when I became a basketball fan. That was the run. That was the Pistons' big run that led into the Jordan run, which ended the Lakers as well. And I'm a Lakers fan. But that was an incredible sort of 10 or 12 years of basketball when Jordan came into form, and then when sort of we went to play baseball, and then he came back from baseball, and then I think he won 1 or 2 more championships. That was an incredible era, and I think one of the funnier things about that era is not necessarily Jordan or Pippen, because that's a lock. Those 2 guys were always locked, but the sort of supporting cast that they had around them. I'm just trying to think of all the Bulls I can name, because my roommate next door to me when I was first in the Air Force, he was a Bulls fanatic. He'd call his bookie on the payphone and make bets. I mean, the whole thing. So I'm trying to think. It's let's see, Luke Longley, Steve Kerr, of course, B.J. Armstrong, Horace Grant. I've got a Horace Grant story here in a second. Let's see, who else?
There was a center named Huntington.
But Wennington, Bill Wennington. He used to say he had the sharpest elbows in the NBA. Bill Wennington. I said Luke Longley. There was, there was so many. But they had all these sort of other starring cast members. Mm-hmm. And to me, that's a more fascinating sort of story than Jordan and Pippen. I mean, it's well known how incredible Michael Jordan's motivation and drive and just how much of a killer he was. I mean, I dig that. I dig that sort of, just that mentality of when I'm playing this game, I don't give a fuck who you are. You are dead to me, and I will do everything I can to win. I dig that mentality, and he just owned that. But what's fascinating to me are all these other guys who sort of benefited from that. Horace Grant once said, I think Jordan scored I think it was 55 or 58 one night. And then Horace Grant said it was the night Michael Jordan and I scored 61 points because he scored 3 points that night. It's one of the best jokes I ever heard. It's funny. So I'll have to check that series out. I saw it come on. I was like, oh, and I lived that because, again, the guy who lived next door to me, I was kind of close to him then. He was just such a huge Bull fan, so we watched every game. I watched every playoff game. I wanted to say that the Bulls were in the series when OJ made his run, but I think that was Houston and someone, maybe the Knicks, because there was a basketball game on when that happened, and I don't remember who it was though. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But yeah, I'm glad you're watching that. The other series that I want to catch up with, but I need a CBS All Access subscription, so maybe I'll find it another way, is Picard. I want to see it. I've always been a Star Trek fan. I want to see it, and I want to at least check out the first couple episodes to see if it's worthy of the rest of the time. A couple of my sci-fi friends have said, you're not going to like it. It's just hackneyed stuff. A couple of my sci-fi friends have been like, this is the kind of character development and portrayal we needed to see. And so I don't know. I got to figure out what that's about. I
watched the episode Friday night, which would have been episode 3.
Right.
Because I somehow forgot that it was coming on.
Right.
And it was interesting.
Yeah.
And right at the end, of course, right as it cuts off for the night, old friend, well, how do I say this? Old frenemy shows up.
Yeah.
She shows up. And
I think I know what you're talking about. Because that same frenemy is in Bosch in the second season, as far as I know.
Huh.
The woman who plays that frenemy.
Okay.
Yeah.
But so I've already tweeted AFN to see if they're going to, rerun those episodes.
I kind of hope they do a marathon. They've done marathons of other shows. I'm kind of hoping they do like a weekend Picard marathon, because I can't remember to put on my phone that Picard will be on AFN at 10. And I appreciate, again, AFN I think is a fantastic service, and I appreciate what they do for us and how they do it. And to be able to do that is very cool. It's just that I'm not used to, like, okay, Friday at 10 I have to watch television. I can barely watch television as it is. That television has to sort of, I have to come to it versus it coming to me. There hasn't been a lot of appointment television for me in a very long time. So, you know.
Yeah, I'm just the opposite. But because you have a family, you have people with you and wanting your time. Like you said, Dee Dee wants to travel and all that. And I'm here with me, myself, and I. And that's it. And so the TV is my friend.
And I've got like a million dumb, nerdy, stupid projects that I'm doing. And, you know, I always like to keep up on those. And I want to finish the comic book and, you know, all this other stuff. And I just think usually what I do is I put on some movie that I've seen 55 times in the background because it's good background noise and it keeps me company. So, all right. So you've got a new bracket. This is a bracket you've conceived, right? This is one you sat down and said, I'm going to make this bracket.
I stole an idea.
All right. Stealing is good.
I did. So what this bracket is, I could have went the easy route and said, okay, who is the best Marvel Universe character?
Right.
No, that's too easy. So what I've done is change it.
Bloodstone, by the way. That's who it is.
And say
Moon Knight. Actually, it's Moon Knight, but go ahead.
I say, who is the best Marvel Universe character? No, that's not right. MCU. Marvel character.
Movie characters, right?
Yeah, university. Yeah, yes. Movie character not named Captain America or Iron Man.
I like this bracket already. Yeah, MCU is okay. We're just considering the movie universe.
Movie universe.
Yeah, that's good. Because if we got into the comics universe, one, I don't think either of us are versed to sort of go through. But if I were saying the Marvel Comics universe, to me, Moon Knight is my favorite overall character. And supposedly he's supposed to make an appearance.
I don't even know that one.
Yeah, he's fantastic. He's Marvel's Batman in a way, but he's also much more intriguing psychologically. All right, so please press on it.
So this is not going to be the airplane brackets. I've limited it to 5 on each side.
Good.
So 10 total.
These are good podcast size brackets.
That's right.
All right.
So the play-in match on the left side.
There's a play-in match. Man, you really went for it.
Match. Is you only have 5 teams, so somebody's got to play in.
All right.
Is Black Widow and Peggy Carter. See, I love Peggy Carter because I love Haley Atwell.
Right.
I mean, love Haley Atwell.
That's probably why you put her in the bracket.
If she showed any interest in me, I would fight her husband. I love Haley Atwell.
All right. Well, this would be an easy choice for me because I've read Black Widow stuff and her character is intriguing. Though she is a lot like the Hawkeye character of the Avengers, wherein, you know, it's like, oh, he's got a bow and arrow. Great. As Patton Oswalt has joked so famously. Great. You could find a similar hero in a sporting goods store, couldn't you? I mean, she's got all these kind of cool gadgets and things, and I guess she's connected to this huge intel network. So she's sort of a lesser hero. On the other hand, Peggy Carter is kind of a great supporting character. I don't know that we got enough of her in the TV or the movie series. So my pick would be Black Widow.
I agree. Unfortunately, that Peggy, like you said, is a great support character. Her love for Steve is something we all want,
right?
But especially if it's Haley Atwell.
I love Steve too.
But as far as kicking ass, it's got to be Black Widow.
Got to be, yeah. So let's push. Okay. Let's move Black Widow into the out of the play-in game and into the real bracket.
Okay, so that puts so let's go to the other play-in game on the other side.
All right,
Loki, and Captain Marvel. So you're much more well-versed on all this stuff.
But if we're only talking movie stuff, I mean, I think it's a fair discussion. So that's an interesting because they're both sort of godlike tropes. Captain Marvel has godlike powers, Superman-like-esque powers. And, the sort of the way they get away from her sort of solving all the problems and making the movies 20 minutes long is, and they used it in the movie, I think, was, hey, there's other problems in other parts of the galaxy. I have to go there and help there, right? So she's just not in the picture. And then she sort of deus ex machinas her way at the end of Endgame, where she's back and she flies through the spaceships and does all that. I like that character. I like... was Brie Larson. Brie Larson from one of my favorite movies of all times, Scott
Pilgrim?
Scott Pilgrim versus the World. Thank you. I was totally blanking it. Loved it. That said, there is also a great discussion for Loki and his popularity in the films, and that he is also godlike. He has these certain powers that he's able to do, his holographic powers and, his mental ability to sort of make people nuts, things like that.
Some great one-liners, too.
Yeah. To me, in my mind, Captain Marvel is sort of a one-trick pony. You know what you're getting. You're getting sort of the whole bazooka with the big warheads, and you know what that is. Loki is just more interesting to me and a more interesting choice, so I would pick Loki.
I agree. And the reason, number one, I have not seen the Captain Marvel movie. But
I haven't either, to be honest. It's actually on my media drive ready to watch, but I've never watched it. That's weird for me.
She saves not just our world, but other worlds as well.
Right.
I get that. Loki, to me, as you said, is a more interesting character. He's good. He's bad. He's funny. So
there's more depth to him, and I'm sure in the movie that neither of us have seen, maybe she adds a little more depth to who she is. I mean, it's her backstory and all of that, and Sam Jackson's in it as Nick Fury with two eyes. I get all that, but the sort of credentials they've built up for Loki over the years. I mean, he was a hit right from the get-go. They were like, right. Oh, who is Tom Hiddleston? And boom, it took off from there, and he played the character very well. So, yeah, I agree with you. I just think Loki's the better choice.
Didn't he date Taylor Swift? Yeah, right, exactly.
Probably.
All right, so
I'm not keeping up with who dates Taylor Swift, by the way. That's not my thing.
Say again?
If you want me to keep up with who's dating Taylor Swift, maybe we can make an addendum. No. We can make a Twitter account for us, and then we could just say Taylor Swift is currently dating.
If I'm not on it, I don't care.
All right, that's fair. All right. I don't think you're going to be
all right. On. So now we're into the brackets.
Dun, dun, dun.
So this leaves.
So this is I'm guessing there's 4 on each side.
Correct.
Okay. All right.
All right. So we've got the Hulk versus Black Widow. Mm-hmm. We've got Star-Lord.
Yeah.
Versus Black Panther.
That's a good one.
We've got Spider-Man versus Loki. Uh-huh. And we've got, I can't read. We've got Thanos.
Yeah.
Thanos.
Josh Brolin, by the way.
I have an aside to that. Yes. Thanos versus Ant-Man.
Interesting. Okay.
So Thanos, Josh Brolin, rather. I don't know if I posted a video.
Stand by me, Josh Brolin.
Josh Gad, who's been in, he was in the oh God, why can't I think?
He was in the live action Beauty and the Beast.
Beauty Beast, yes. So you know who I'm talking about.
Josh Gad, yeah.
He's a funny guy.
He is.
Well, because of the quarantine, he had this thing, I'm going to get all the Goonie cast back together.
Interesting.
The cast from the Goonies. And he did. And Josh Brolin was one of the coolest guys there.
He is now.
He got Andy, who I don't think has been in a movie since she did The Goonies. He got Corey Feldman, who was, I think, stuck in Europe.
Martha Plimpton, did she go?
Say again? I'm sorry?
Martha Plimpton?
Oh, yeah, Martha Plimpton.
She made it? Wow, that's surprising.
Oh, yeah, Martha Plimpton. Even Spielberg, Richard Donner. Donner,
yeah.
Correct?
Yep.
Yeah, Donner. No, not Donner. Oh, crap, now I can't think. But anyway, the director, all the cast, Data, and, of course, Chunk, who is as skinny as I am now, basically. So, yeah, except for the parent. He didn't get the parents, but he had the Fratelli brothers. It was great. It's on my Facebook page if you want to take a look at that. It's a half-hour interview.
I'll take a look at it.
So
I missed it.
Yeah. Okay, so anyway, so that's our our brackets.
Good choices.
So let's start Hulk and Black Widow.
That's an interesting discussion. I guess you have to look at it from the merits of like what you're watching on screen and entertaining you, and the merits of like how valuable they are in the Marvel universe. But my initial skim would be an easy one. But talking about the Hulk, I really like the way Mark Ruffalo has played the Hulk. I really dig the way his portrayal has gone. Who's been in that role before? Edward Norton, Eric Banovich, he goes by Eric Bana, but his last name is actually Banovich or something like that. Bill Bixby, of course, on the TV series.
Lou
Ferrigno, right. So I think he's by far the best. I think he sort of mixes that meek scientist caught in his own personal hell, and this is what he's going through. This is something about him. And I really, really love the Hulk in Thor Ragnarok. I thought that was brilliant. I didn't like the Hulk as much in Thor or Avengers Endgame when they made him Smart Hulk. But I mean, I understand these were things from the comic books. So I mean, I understood. So that said, again, Black Widow to me is a multi-dimensional character. It's Scarlett Johansson. You can't go wrong with that. So if I were just doing the initial skim, I mean, my gut says that I would pick Black Widow because of the depth, and they tend to focus on her more, which she's a bigger star than Mark Ruffalo is, so I guess that's not fair. Hulk is one of the original, in my mind, Marvel Golden Age characters that grew up out of the Ditko, Kirby, Jack, Stan Lee makings of comics from the 60s and 70s. Hulk was always a staple, along with the two we don't feature, Iron Man, Captain America, Spider-Man, who we are featuring. So I would pick Black Widow.
Okay. I like the Hulk. Bear with me here. I like the Hulk because he's this big monster Hulk smash dude.
Right.
But he also has humanity still inside there.
Right.
I like that. I like Black Widow for all the reasons we mentioned, and I'm going with Black Widow because she can tame the Hulk.
Yeah, that's true. That's a great point.
So that's why I give her.
Well, she is Scarlett Johansson.
The win on.
That's how that works.
Again, if she showed any interest, I would fight her husband. So
I don't think she's married.
I don't think she is anymore. So you're saying there's a chance.
So you're saying there's a chance. Indeed.
All right. Next, across the bracket here, Spider-Man, and I'm going with the. Oh gosh, why can't the latest Spider-Man, because I like him so much.
Tom something. I want to say Tom
Holland.
Hammond, but
Tom Holland.
I want to say Tom Hammond because we were talking about basketball earlier. But yeah, Tom Holland.
Tom Holland, Spider-Man, and Loki, and Tom Hiddleston. Two Toms.
All right, so I've already stated my case for Loki, so I'm not going to rehash that.
Right.
The Spider-Man character is not technically part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, though it is sort of now. It's actually owned by Sony. Marvel sold Spider-Man way back when, but they're I understand what we're doing, but that's a little bit of trivia if folks don't know.
There's that story lately that Holland got drunk and called the president of Sony and said, "Hey, we need to make another movie. Don't shut Spider-Man out." And apparently they're going to. So
I didn't hear that. That's funny, but they did for the first movie. I think is that when they decided to collaborate because they saw that Marvel had the magic touch on movies, and they were at loggerheads for the second movie. They finally came. So the Spider-Man character to me is interesting. I liked Tobey Maguire playing Spider-Man. I think that was a good portrayal, except for the web shooting out of his wrists. That was I think a Sam Raimi choice versus like a realistic choice instead of web shooters.
Right.
The second one, Andrew Garfield was the second one. I've never even seen those movies because I was like, I don't want to go through another origin story. Don't make me watch another origin story. How many Spider-Man origin story movies do we have to make? And then I really liked Tom Holland in this role. I think he's great. I think the first Spider-Man film where he's sort of trying things out and Iron Man's there and so on and so forth. I think that's really good and those kinds of things. That said, if I were wagering on the characters themselves, I suppose I would pick Loki only because he's more of a heavyweight. And,
he's a god.
And I like the new Spider-Man movies, but they haven't really like hooked me. Loki is, in every film he's in, he's always a crucial character. And I love Tom Holland playing him, and I'll watch the movies. But if we're talking about these two characters, I would pick Loki.
I could, yeah. Like I said, I really like Tom Holland. I like the humor that he brings to it.
Mm-hmm. I think he's the most accurate portrayal of Peter Parker as a young, sort of high school kid, and it embodies that sort of cynical stuff that Spider-Man does in the comics, where he's not only fighting but he's cracking jokes at the same time. I think they got that right finally.
I hate to admit this because this really ages me, but I like Marissa Tomei as Aunt May.
Yeah.
I like the Spider-Man films, but I like what you're saying about Loki's just a bigger character.
He is.
And more gravitas. So yeah, I can agree with your...
So no coin flip then?
No coin flip.
All right.
All right, so now back to the other... This one's tough to me.
Yeah.
Star-Lord and Black Panther.
This is hugely tough for me. I love both of these characters, and I love the films that they're in. I really was on board with the crowd that said, what the fuck is Guardians of the Galaxy going to be? Because of the sort of myriad characters that were being employed to bring it to the screen. And I just thought in my head, audiences are going to think this is just a bad sci-fi film, but it had a Marvel stamp on it. It's got all the Marvel sort of plot things and like that. So it was a huge success. So, I was wrong along with a lot of other people. And I think the characters are amazing, and they're actually, it's in probably my top 3 Marvel films. At least the first one was. Second one was fine, the whole Kurt Russell thing, and it was okay. Yeah. But the first one was great.
I love Kurt Russell.
Yeah, I love the first one. I thought it was great, and I think he is I think Chris Pratt is a fine actor. I really liked him in Zero Dark 30. I liked him in Moneyball. I loved that character very much, and I liked him in Guardian of the Galaxy. So he's very likable. I really enjoyed the Black Panther movie, but it was like 60 minutes too long. I liked that they were very authentic with the origin of the character, that they built it in the right way. It was really fun to watch that movie go over $1 billion in spite of what a lot of people were thinking about what might happen to that movie. Right. And sort of it just became a huge, huge, huge success. And I like that character a lot. I think I kind of grew up being a Black Panther fan because it was in the same mold as Daredevil, and that because I'm very much in that Daredevil universe. As I told you earlier, I'm a big Moon Knight fan, but I'm a big Daredevil, Bullseye, Punisher, Elektra, that sort of end of the comic book universe, which also included to a large degree, to some degree anyway, Black Panther and sort of the things he did. So I'm torn on this one. I'm not sure, but my immediate lean is to Black Panther, believe it or not. So I think this is where we're going to get a coin flip, but go ahead.
I agree with everything you just said. My thing with Star-Lord is he's basically he's a smartass like me.
Love it, yeah.
And that's why I'm going with him, so we need to flip a coin.
All right, let's flip a coin.
Do you have one?
I do. I think
you have one handy?
I do. I still have the same coin we flipped the other day.
All right, good.
All right, so here, I'll bring my camera down so you can see it. All right, so you get the 1 again.
Unblur it.
One will be Star-Lord.
Okay.
All right, yeah, unblur it. Hang on, let's do that. Technology, unblur my background. There we go. All right, so again, here's the 1, and here's the, what is it called? The Vitruvian Man. So Vitruvian Man is Black Panther. The 1 is you, all right? Here, let me see if I can. Right. All right, so ready? 1, 2. Look at that.
I can't see. Your shadow's in the way.
Oh, sorry. Here.
Oh, that's a 1.
You're a winner.
That's a 1.
You're a winner.
So that is Star-Lord.
Star-Lord moves on. I think I'm happy with either choice. I really, really like the universe they built with Black Panther and the whole Wakanda thing and the science and just the strength of that character. But again, the movie to me was like an hour too long. And I really like what he adds to the Avengers movies. I really like the Star-Lord character. I thought it had a lot of depth. But either way, they're a good choice. So I'm happy with it.
Yeah, I really like the Black Panther movie, and I look forward to the next one.
Yeah.
Okay, so our final bracket here.
Yeah.
Thanos and Ant-Man.
So Ant-Man, I don't really need to think about this too much. I think Thanos is pretty one-dimensional. I don't really connect with Thanos in any way. And I understood the sort of character he was in this. I think if someday they introduce Galactus to the Marvel Universe, as they will, because they suck back Fantastic Four, and maybe they'll bring them in as well. It's that kind of character. It's just, you can't kill Thanos, right? I mean, they did, yeah, all right, whatever. But he's one of those sort of indestructible, indefatigable. What is that? The saying? What happens when an invulnerable force meets an immovable object, sort of thing, right? And that's what was happening. So there's not a lot of depth. I enjoyed the way that Brolin characterized it and all of those things. But Ant-Man is Paul Rudd. He's funny, multidimensional. He's got the kid. It brings a lot of depth. There's a lot of humanity to his characters. It was fun to watch. Did some things differently than other Marvel movies did, a lot like Guardians did. I enjoyed that. It was a nice trip away from the sorts of, usual Avengers and sorts of things. I just really enjoy Ant-Man, and I think he's the better character of the two.
What I really liked about the Ant-Man movies were the humor, obviously.
Right.
He gives hope that the normal dude can be a hero.
Right.
And do it with humor. Oh, by the way, he's got to be back in the house before the FBI gets there because he's on house arrest and all this. And he loves his daughter, which obviously hits home to you and I.
Yeah.
And I'm moving Ant-Man forward as well.
Love that one. I think it's a good choice. That'll be fun.
Okay, so we're in the final four.
Dun, dun, dun.
So we have Black Widow against Star-Lord.
So I like, in this case, they're both pretty multi-dimensional characters who have carried on with a bunch of people. That is to say that they get along well with almost everybody on the teams. So you've seen a lot of interaction between them. You've seen you've gotten a lot of opportunity to sort of tell what they're like and who they're like. The actors are both top rated. That said, I like Star-Lord. I think he carries the movie franchises better. I think Black Widow is a very supplemental character like Hawkeye to this universe. I know they're giving her own movie soon. I think it's going to do bang up because all Marvel Universe movies do bang up. and that's totally cool. However, I think that Star-Lord is just more fun. I can't think of another way to say it. So I pick Star-Lord.
I think he's a better character as well.
Okay.
She does a great job. Don't get me wrong. That what she did, especially in the end game. That's the last one. Right?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. She really stepped up and well, for lack of a better term, helped carry that movie in what she did, her character.
Right.
Star-Lord to me is. This is going to sound weird since we're talking about a Marvel Universe movie.
Yeah.
He's more real. He has screwed up. He has cost people, their lives.
Right.
And, and whatever, screwed up the mission and whatever. So I like Star-Lord.
Mm-hmm.
So that we'll move him into the finals.
Yep, I think we agree on that. I just think Black Widow is just is a minor character, and I'm not sure. Just for what I think we're talking about for this, I think Star-Lord is the out-and-out winner there for sure.
Okay, so that brings us to Loki and Ant-Man.
This is a tough one. I really like, again, and I've made cases for both, so I don't want to rehash. They're both likable. They both bring a certain charisma to the universe. This is kind of a coin flip for me, but I would pick Loki. I think he's had some of the better lines in the film. My favorite line when he's first Avengers movie, he's in Stuttgart and he appears in front of all the people and he says, "I am burdened with glorious purpose," just as you and I are every day working in public affairs. I am burdened with glorious purpose. It's a great line. I'm not sure if they took that from somewhere else, but it's a fantastic line. That said, that's exactly why I'd move him forward, because he just has more memorable stuff than Ant-Man does. I think, again, Ant-Man is a secondary character to the Marvel Universe, though Paul Rudd is a fantastic actor, and he does a great job carrying that character. Michael Douglas in that movie, I cannot remember Wasp's name, but she's great. She was the elf in Lord of the Rings, and I really enjoyed her in that. It'll come to me later, and I apologize for not having it right up front. But I would move Loki forward there.
Okay, we're going to have to flip a coin.
Uh-oh.
I just love Ant-Man. I love the character. I love the comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I can see her. She was in Lost, and oh man.
Her name begins with an E or something like that. I don't remember. All right, I'm bringing out the coin.
Bring out the coin.
Bring out the coin. The one will be Loki, and the Vitruvian Man will be Ant-Man. All right. Here we go. Ready? Loki goes, my friend.
Man. All right. So, Star-Lord and Loki.
It's interesting. Is that it? This is it, right?
This is it. This is championship.
This is a compact bracket. I like that. I got to remember to make my next bracket like this. All right. And I already have a bracket in mind for the Tuesday show, so don't worry. Both these actors have come into their own. They both have really done so much. But if we're talking about the Marvel Cinematic Universe as a whole and sort of what the foundations of that are and what the bedrock of that is, and how, as a character in a film, they've carried along the story and done things to sort of buy into the story or make the story change or make it relevant, I got to go with Loki. I think he's just a bigger force in that Marvel movie universe than Star-Lord. I can very much see how I could pick Star-Lord here, but there's just more gravitas to Loki, and that to me makes it. That's my pick to be the winner.
I get that. I get that. And did he come back when they killed Thanos?
Yeah, he did. I'm pretty sure he did.
I don't remember seeing him. I have to watch that movie.
I got to remember. Again. That's a good point. I don't remember either. I think he did, though.
So I love Star-Lord. I love those movies. I like Chris Pratt, when you're talking about Jurassic Park or Jurassic World.
My daughter had a crush on him when he first started in those movies, too. It was funny. She actually typed in a text once, Chris Pratt is hot. I thought that was funny. The last girlfriend I had before I came over here, she thought Chris Pratt was hot. Oh, okay. Well, he was kind of. Yes. That's when he was flabby and out of shape, though. That was just sitcom.
Well, he was
Chris
just
Pratt.
Funny.
Yeah, he's transformed. He's got his character in Jurassic World is really weird. It's a very much a sort of standard former Navy SEAL who's an expert at something, helps save the day, sort of, and that's what that is, which is too bad for him. But, those movies make $1 billion anyway, so he's fine. He doesn't need my help.
I will grudgingly concede Loki based on everything you said. He's a bigger character. He moves the story along. So, yeah, I can go with Loki. So Loki's the winner of the bracket that I made up that is best MCU character not named Tony Stark or Captain America.
Who would you choose out of Captain America or Tony Stark? Now, see, this is a very pointed question just because the whole Marvel Civil War thing kind of hinges on it. Who of those two do you like more?
See, I like Tony Stark because he's a smart ass.
Yeah, I like Iron Man.
Yeah, and that's what about, and I don't know this and I should know this because I'm such a fan.
Yeah.
Where's Deadpool fit in everything?
So Deadpool is not in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He's still owned by, they might have sold him back to Marvel, I guess. But he is a very interesting character in a lot of ways, psychologically, how he has his powers. So Deadpool is one of the experiments, like Wolverine and Sabretooth and some of the others who came out of the X program. in Canada, and he became Deadpool the Mercenary, things like that. The big thing that took off for Deadpool was when he started breaking the fourth wall in comics and talking to the reader and sort of describing what was going to happen, and there's all these sort of really wonderful plot devices they put in for that. It's really well written that way. And then they started sort of speculating, is he Deadpool, or is this all just happening in this sort of mentally ill person's head, and on and on and on. So it gives it a lot of interesting movie points too. And of course, it was the first movie that Marvel sort of allowed a character to really go full bore on what if, where they could curse and, do a lot of dumb things with F words. And I loved it. I thought both Deadpools were fantastic. In fact, I like Deadpool 2 more than I like Deadpool 1. And I thought it was great. But I'm pretty sure they bought him back when they bought all the Fox stuff too. So I think all, except for Spider-Man, all the Marvel movie characters are back in the hands of Marvel now.
Wow.
Yeah, except for Spider-Man.
When Endgame, before Endgame came out, but all the hype was starting for Endgame.
Right.
There was a picture, obviously a fake picture going around of Deadpool in the red, white, and blue Avenger suit that everybody had in that last film.
Yeah.
And I peed a little. I absolutely, if you're going to ask me what my favorite, now that I know, Marvel character is, it's Deadpool.
Yeah, that's a good choice.
I absolutely.
Hey, wait, hang on. Deadpool. I'll show you something. Stay there. Don't move. Hang on. Since you're on video. 1 second. Stand by.
Tick-tock, tick-tock. Nice shorts.
Hang on.
Oh, I love it.
Take a look at that.
Nice. Have you seen my my Deadpool change holder in the office?
Yes.
It's up in the windowsill.
So this is, my dad bought me this probably 4 years ago. It's totally awesome. And I'm not as big a Deadpool character or fan as you. I just love this. And he thought I would love it, and I do love it. It's amazing. It's really well done. The pose is awesome. And I do like the character, and this is just one of my favorite things. So I wanted to
That is awesome.
It's awesome.
That is very cool.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine anybody but Ryan Reynolds playing him.
He is a great actor. He's a smart guy. He's very sharp. Did you know Van Wilder? I didn't know this. There's a comedian named Burt Kreischer. If you ever get to listen to his stuff, he's hilarious.
He does all his comedy with no shirt on.
Yeah, he's hilarious. Well, the movie Van Wilder was based on Burt Kreischer at FSU. It's a fascinating story.
I did not know that.
The Rolling Stone wrote the story about Burt Kreischer. It was like an 8-page story. He was just the biggest party animal ever, and they focused on him, and that's basically how his career got started. And so they made the movie Van Wilder about Burt Kreischer's life at FSU, and it was a huge hit. And it's pretty wild. So,
wow.
All right, we got to wrap up. We are at the hour point. Go ahead, though.
I have a huge man crush on Ryan Reynolds. That's all I'm saying.
He's pretty fantastic. I mean, he does some great things charitably. He's a good actor. I mean, he's a smart guy, so that's a good thing to do. All right, I enjoyed that. Next Tuesday, when we record, it will be best candy bar bracket from yours truly. And
I'm diabetic.
But you don't you eat candy? You still don't eat candy?
I'm not supposed to, but I do.
You used to, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So it'll still be best candy bar bracket, and we will decide of the popular candy bars which one will move forward. So we will talk to that on Tuesday, among whatever else we're doing on Tuesday. Thank you for joining us. If you want to pick up the show, you can pick us up on iTunes, on Spreaker, on... What are the other ones I always say? Spotify, on Google Play, and a million other places. You can also find us on Liberated Syndication, Libsyn. They have an app that you can download. You can get us through the Apple Podcasts app, too. We're pretty easy to find now. This show is a JK. Just type in "This Show Is," and it should come up. And you can subscribe, and we're easy to listen to. 1 hour a week, not bad at all. And it's a great show, and we hope you'll enjoy it. So just a little announcement. We are trying to move over to do a live video. We'll have to figure that out, but we're having some technical difficulties, and I think what I'm going to do, and I'll tell you offline when we're done, but we're going to try to do a video format, and if you enjoy that, enjoy seeing our stupid faces, then you'll enjoy seeing that. So once again, thanks for joining us for the pod. We appreciate it. Hello, Darren. Good to have you on as always, and we'll talk to you all soon. Bye-bye.
Have a good night.